So let's pray now to this subject of letting go. Let us ask God for the readiness to release all thoughts of limitation and beliefs in separation from our Creator. We cannot hold on to littleness and experience the greatness of our God's. We call upon the Holy Spirit to manifest an altar where we make an intention to lay down all illusions of ourselves and become aware of the one shared reality behind the personas of this world. Today we claim God's name as our own and let go of all other names we have placed upon ourselves to define the world we see. Amen. So the way I approach this letting go is to call upon God's name as our own. Now, if you read the spiritual practice, I clarify that a little bit. Like when you call upon God's name, we're not calling upon a form. God is formless. So you read in the reading in Genesis, if you read in Genesis, you get God's formless. Pray the word for a formless state. So it's not really a name. Like a name is a mental concept, but we don't have a language for it, so we use God's name. But it's an experience. So when we're calling upon God's name, we're calling upon an experience of who we really are as the child of God. That's what we're calling upon. And we're doing that together. And that's our true self. All other names that we've given ourselves are ultimately illusionary. No matter what they are, how sophisticated they are, how valuable they are. Me being a dad, me being a nurse, me being an interfaith spiritual minister, me being belonging to a church, me being a Democrat, me being liberal, me being, a dancer, all that stuff is names that aren't really who I am. They're characters I play here, they're fun, and they get used to serve the purpose of helping others experiencing the one name. I'm not saying to ignore any of those names or deny them at all, but ultimately they're not really who we are. God's name is who we really are. Whatever you want to say that is to you, it's the experience. The experience that we share together behind all the personas of ourselves that we play in the world. And there's some psychology behind that. If you want to get into Carl Jung's work, Richard Rohr does a little bit of work about that, about the shadow self and the personas that we portray to the world to hide our guilt, to hide our shame, to hide our fears. Like to be like a parent, or to be like a strong individual and try to hold on that role. And once we're identified with a certain name as like a parent, then we have to hold up this strength and this security and this service we've committed to. But behind it's this fear, that we're scared. We're scared of our children. We're scared of what might happen to them. We're scared that we might make mistakes. We might even do that role at a work, at a job. We play a role of being a strong person, a good worker, performing well, but behind it all, we're insecure and scared a lot of the time that we're going to make mistakes and we're going to get fired, So it's, this shadow self that emerges when we let go of the names, it can be a little scary. So that's why a lot of times, I don't want to be without a name, because then the fear behind the name shows up. See, the name is actually a protective device to avoid experiencing the fear. That's what Carl Jung talked about, and we use it to avoid experiencing what's behind it, which is the fear, which is guilt, which is shame. Okay, so that needs to be experienced directly, and that's the process part, going into the process. Okay, I'm not ready to let go of something because I value it. I value a name, and then behind the name also is the fear. So I got to go through the process, experiencing the fear, and then also praying. For help, ask for help in that process. So it's a lot of just releasing, removing the layers of the onion and just letting go more and more of the names. I think we mentioned this. I was talking to Doug before the service about, what would be the goal of this service. Would be awesome is if we all left not thinking about anything. Not having any mental concepts in our mind, and not thinking or being concerned about anything. Not really, in a sense, knowing anything. We just be experiencing the formless God love. That'd be the goal of any getting together and joining a congregation of just being in love and not really having a name for it. You just experience it. That's in the Tao Te Ching talks a lot about that. So let's affirm that this is our heartfelt goal, to experience God's name as our own. Let's say this together. We've got the affirmation. I claim God's name as my own inheritance. I was not born into what can die. Born into what can die. I am an eternal child of God. To know true peace, I will let the one name that I am give meaning to the 1,000 different names that seem to appear in my life. So that's the trust process. So when we have names showing up in our life that seem to define us, asking the question, where's God's name in this? Frequently doing that practice each and every day. You know, when I sit down in social gatherings with family and friends, there's discussion about, okay, what are you doing with the house? You know, we got this new house project. And what are we doing with kids? What are we doing with whatever's going on in the world of form, external? There's discussion about that. There's a lot of names going on. Well, you talk, well, I know this person, you know that. And, you know, that's something that's going on in social context. You get into that. But behind all that, the most important thing is to know that you are God, and you are the God self. That's what you really are. You're an eternal child of God. So any of that stuff that's spoken about there, you can talk about it fine, but it doesn't bother you on whether you're doing it or not, or involved in it. It's fine, because of who you really are. And starting to know that more, so you don't avoid, you know, people like to avoid social gatherings or get anxious about it because there's that dialogue going on there. But also because they perhaps don't know who they really are, and they're still identified with these names. Well, I need to go there, I need to present to them a name or a story about me. All that drama, it's really an illusion. It's not who we are. However, we strongly identify with these names. And it takes practice each and every day to see them for what they are. Of ourselves, we cannot let them go. As long as we're still looking at them and saying they're valuable, real, and meaningful. We can trust the Spirit to help us let them go and release them to the one shared reality, all the names. But we can't just will them away or fight them away. That just makes them more and more real. Even saying, well, I want to let that go, then you're naming it. I want to let that go. You make it real. You give it a reality. So it's the practice that I really want to get into is just going to Spirit. And this is what Islam, not Islam, in the Quran, the traditional Islam practice, they might do a little bit of this. But the Sufis, they got into just repeating God's name over and over again. Use all until they just experience bliss, ecstasy, joy. And so I want to do a little reading on that. And the reason I'm doing this also is because there's a lesson in the Course of Miracles. I think it's 184, 185. Is, the name of God is my own inheritance. It talks about this. It's a very similar practice of just repeating God's name over and over again. Because you already are the child of God. So you're just awakening what's already inside you. You're not trying to let things go or trying to sacrifice things, sacrifice names, you know, because that's not going to work. People have been doing it for a long time. Well, I'm going to go just let all this stuff go that I value still. Well, as long as you still value it, you're not going to let it go. So you just go to the part of yourself that's already awakened and in peace and love, and you just start experiencing that. And from there, All the other stuff that's going on that you've given names to that maybe cause pain in your life, you start to see differently. Maybe they're not as valuable. And you release your hold on them, how much you cherish them. And they just naturally kind of fall off. Like when I got sober when I was 19 years old, I gave up, drinking, drugs, just all that stuff. And I was still smoking cigarettes, still chewing tobacco. So for the next few years I did that, all right? But I was practicing this stuff. I still valued it. It helped me cope, get through anxiety, helped me get to, a social context. I chewed tobacco when I was there. It was just like a coping skill. But I wasn't ready to let it go. So I just kept practicing this, going within and feeling the love and the joy. And it just grew more and more. And then naturally, I didn't find it valuable anymore. Like, this doesn't serve me anymore. Just naturally, one morning I woke up. I was living in a spiritual community at the time. I woke up. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this. And I threw the chew can out, I drove to work, and I felt this great joy all day. Made that decision. And I quit chewing. However, behind that, all the stuff that I was using that to cope with was this boredom and restlessness. So for the next month, that came up. About every day, it was just this offering, you're bored, you're restless, take a chew. So the first day was just this great blessing. But I was willing to sit through all that. I had this willingness to, just experience all that. It didn't matter. Okay, so I'll do the reading. This is The World's Religions by Houston Smith. Talks about a lot of the great religions, and he just simplifies a lot of things. So, and he does a little part here on Sufis. It says, symbolism, though powerful, works somewhat abstractly, so the Sufis supplement it with Durkee, which is, Durkee means to remember. The practice of remembering Allah through repeating His name. There is a means of polishing all things whereby rust may be removed. A hadith asserts, adding that which polishes the heart is the invocation of Allah. Remembrance of God is at the same time a forgetting of self. So Sufis consider the repetition of Allah's name the best way of directing their attention Godward. So when we remember God, we forget about that self that we've given other names to. So we've just forgotten. So that's the portal. That's the way to just experiencing God. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added on to you. It's just said in a whole bunch of different ways, the same thing. Whether they utter God's name alone or with others, silently or loud, ascending its first syllable sharply or prolong its second syllable as long as breath allows. They try to fill every moment of the day with its music. Eventually this practice kneads the syllables into the subconscious mind, from which it bubbles up with the spontaneity of a bird's song. To the subconscious mind. That's the key there. When I'm saying God's name, it's going to start affecting the subconscious. Remember that shadow self I was talking about? We start to see that. It comes up and it starts to get undone. So we don't have to have that shadow self manifesting things in our life and create drama. So we actually literally, consciously undo it. We utter God's name. I used because of the syllables, I used I am. Two syllables. I am. And we're going to do a meditation on that. I am. Because I think it's a beautiful practice for this and to go into an experience of who we really are. So, let's do that now. Close our eyes. Get comfortable. So we're using the name here, I am. Inhale, I. And breathe out, am. Inhale, I. Breathe out, am. Inhale, I. Exhale, am. When you do this, feel am just penetrating your cells and going through your body. Inhale, I. Exhale, am. You may even feel this going down your spine, going up your spine and releasing from the top of your head, or any way that it shows up for you. Inhale, I. Exhale, am. Inhale, I. Exhale, am. Inhale, I. Exhale, am. Now just stick with this practice in your own way. Other affirmations or thoughts may come to you of repeating God's name and knowing it as your own. The goal here is to know thyself. Know that you are God manifested in this world. This is our true nature. You can also bring some gratitude in this. And just being thankful for life, for knowing who you are. The blessing of this. Let's open our eyes and let's all say it together. This is the Sufi. Let's all say it together. Organize. Breathe in, I. Exhale, am. Let's do it together. I am. I feel like my goal, my function here is to just transform from within. And whatever happens from there is meant to be. There are a lot of movements out there that are really activists, part of changing form. And I think they're needed, and they're really helpful. And I get emails about it often. Interfaith movements, nursing movements to change And I ask myself, I wonder, why don't I feel inspired to like really get involved in any of that stuff? It doesn't come to me. But it's because it's this. I want to just go deeper into that. And I know that's where the real change occurs, is in mind, in thought, in consciousness. Our consciousness on the planet must change. It's the only way for peace to occur. No matter what, utopia, it doesn't matter. That's not a goal, to have a utopic society. It's about changing consciousness and having heaven restored to our awareness here. And then, however it shows up in our lives, individually, is what heaven's meant to look like, based on our level of consciousness. And you gotta let go of all the illusions, attachments, fear, shame, all that stuff. And if I'm not able to directly do it by saying, hey, I'm done with this fear, I'm done with this anger, I'm done with this shame, then I need to go back to the process. The process is the meditation. The process is that what we just did, the I am. The process is prayer. The process is coming here, meeting. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of it. It's just beautiful to celebrate it. And the more excited we get about it, I'm not saying you have to be outwardly excited, but just inside, the higher the frequency of it increases. And it's awesome. And I thank you all for celebrating with me. Thank you. Amen.